Hello, good evening. Good evening to those of you in Europe anyway. For any of you in other places, Canada for example, then I'm not sure what time it is there. Anyway, so welcome. Hello to those of you who've been before, welcome back, and welcome to those of you who are new, either watching this live or watching this later on. My name is Vicky, and this evening's yoga session is a Yin Yoga class focused on immunity. So we're going to start with a breathing exercise to help condition the lungs and maximize breathing. Then we're going to move on to some stretches that focus on the inside line of the leg. I'll explain why in a minute as we do it. And then we're going to move into a twist to finish. The class, as always, is going to be between 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how long I keep you in the poses for. And for those of you who haven't done Yin Yoga before, then just to let you know, very briefly, in Yin Yoga we stay in the poses for a number of minutes, around 3 to 4 minutes. So I would suggest taking your time at the beginning to move into the position that suits you and suits your body, and I'll be giving you some adjustments for that. So making sure that you're comfortable. So feeling a stimulation in a particular area, a target area, and I'll tell you what that is in each pose. We want a mild to moderate sensation stretch, for example, and we want one that you can stay in for a few minutes. So that's really important. The second thing I just want to point out for those of you who are new to Yin Yoga is really, to everybody actually, is please do listen to your body. And if you feel at any point that something is hurting you, then please do adjust the pose. So those are the main points, and let's move into the breathing. So find yourself a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Kneeling, cross-legged, anything, as long as your back is straight and your chest is open. That's my cue to stop talking, so I actually stopped talking before that started. It doesn't happen often. So then close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Actually, before you close your eyes, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So those of you who have done Nadi Shodhana or alternate nostril breathing before, then you may have your own hand position. So please do use that, because it's the same hand position as we would use for Nadi Shodhana. If you haven't done that before, then I'll give you a couple of options. So you can either place the middle finger on the forehead, and then we're going to close and open the right and left nostrils. So you can use the thumb and the little finger to do that. Another option is to close the middle finger and the ring finger. To close the forefinger and the middle finger, bringing the ring finger and the little finger together. And then what you can do, keep it light, you don't want it to be hurting you. And then you can use the thumb to close the right nostril, and you can use the ring finger to close the left. If you feel like your elbow, your arm is getting tired, then you can just place your hand underneath. So keep your eyes open for now as I show you. So what we're going to be doing, in a slightly different way to Nadi Shodhana, is we're going to be breathing in the right and breathing out the left. And that's all we're going to be doing, is breathing in the right and breathing out of the left, using your fingers to close and open as necessary. So just adjust the body if you need to in your seated position so you're comfortable and upright. Put the hand in the position that you want. Just bring your attention to your normal breath first. Just noticing the breath. And then bring the hand to the face. Breathe out completely. Now close the left nostril. Breathe in the right nostril for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Close the right, open the left. Breathe out. 2, 3, 4. Close, breathe in the right. 2, 3, 4. Close, breathe out the left. 2, 3, 4. Close your eyes, breathe in the right. 2, 3, 4. Close out the left. 2, 3, 4. In the right. 2, 3, 4. Out the left. 2, 3, 4. In the right. 2, 3, 4. Out left. 2, 3, 4. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4. Now we'll change it a little. So right. 2, 3, 4. Out the left for 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll change again. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. 2, 3, 4. Left. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now keep doing this. But you count. And if you find that 8 is too long, keep going. Close your eyes if that's okay. And if you find that 8 is too long and you're getting a bit breathless, then go back to 6 or to 4. We don't want to be straining the lungs. We want to be trying to condition the lungs. Notice if you're holding any tension in the body. And if you feel like you are, keep going. Then just see if you can breathe into the area and see if you can just soften the area. See if it's possible to just relax it a bit. Take your time, don't rush. Just feel the in-breath and the out-breath. The shorter in-breath, the longer out-breath. And by increasing the out-breath, we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, encouraging our nervous system to relax, to calm down. And then on the last last out breath through the left. Keep the eyes closed, drop the hands. And just notice any effect. And then when you're ready, open your eyes. And we'll move into the first pose, one-legged child's pose. Also I call it. I don't know if it's called that. For this class, by the way, if you have something to raise your hips up, a block, a book, cushions, anything at all, we'll need that. And a blanket would be great as well. But I'll give you alternatives if you don't have those. So if you're not already in a kneeling position, then make your way into a kneeling position. And then I want you to just stretch the right leg out to the side. So we're looking for a stretch on the inside thigh. So fold over that bent leg. Now if you're at the point where you're okay to stay in this for around 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, then stay where you are. If you're not really feeling the stretch, then move the leg out a bit further, or you can rotate the leg. See if bringing the foot out gives you more stretch, for example, or bringing it in. And the same if you've got too much stretch, bring the leg a bit further forward, and you can also try with the rotation of the leg there. If that's still not working, you still want more stretch, then try moving the torso a bit to the right or maybe the left. Perhaps that will give you the right amount of stretch that you can stay in for a few minutes. If you're finding that the back of this knee is pulling a bit too much, then what you can do is take a blanket, roll it up, bend the knee a little bit, and place it underneath to lessen the extension of the leg. If you feel that there's too much stretch on the front of the left ankle, then if you want to, you can sit on the outside. So drop the hip to the floor and then fold over. As long as we've got a stretch on the inside thigh of the right leg, then we've got the jackpot. So now we'll be here for about 2 minutes now. So just allow yourself to relax into the pose. Feeling the sensation in the right thigh. Bless me. Keeping the body relaxed. Around another 30 seconds or so to go now. And if you feel for this last bit that you want a bit more stretch, then just maybe move the torso a bit, see if that gives you more. Or if you feel like you want less stretch, then perhaps you might want to come up a bit or move the legs slightly. Small movements.
And now we're going to move out of the pose. So then just walk the hands up. So you're sitting up. Drop down onto the left hip, if you're not already. Take hold of the right leg and just drag that knee in. Place the foot on the floor. And just stay before we move to the other side for a few moments, perhaps closing your eyes, noticing how different the right leg and the left leg feel. For any of you who haven't done the class before, you'll notice that I say this quite a lot. And the reason is that Yin Yoga is a very good opportunity for noticing what's happening with you, paying attention to your experience, because we have time to do that. Maybe you might just want to sway a little bit just before we move to the other side. And then we will move to the other side. So, up on the knees again. This time, stretch the left leg out. And again, adjust, rotate, and move the leg to find the stretch that you want on the inside thigh. And then fold forward. Dropping down to the hip, bringing the right foot in and dropping down to the hip if you feel that there's too much stretch on the front of the right ankle this time. So always just spend a bit of time playing with the position so that it suits you. And then we'll stay here for around 3.5 minutes. Trying to keep the body soft, allowing it to deepen into the pose. Trying to use as little muscular effort as possible so that we can get deeper into the body. And the reason that we're stretching the inside thighs is that this is where the meridian or the channel of energy, according to traditional Chinese medicine, of the spleen meridian, the spleen, and the reason that we're working on this, and we'll also work on it in the next pose as well, is that it's said, according to traditional Chinese medicine, well actually also in the Western sense as well, that the spleen contains really important cells that fight infection, i.e. white blood cells. So of course this is not where the spleen is, but if we look at it in an energetic sense, Qi as they call it in China, then we're stimulating the energy flow for this meridian related to the spleen to try and encourage it to work more efficiently. Notice if you're holding tension, see if you can breathe into it and soften it. And if you feel at any point that it's getting too much, then just adjust the body. Or if you feel like you've lost the stretch, then also adjust the body. So let's start to move out of the pose. So just push yourself back up. Bring the right foot in, sit on the hip. Take hold of the leg, bend the knee, and again bring it in, place the foot on the floor. Close your eyes. Now notice how this leg feels this time. Compared to before. And then we'll move into the next pose, pontoon. So if you have something to raise your hips up on, then please grab it now. If you have a book, then I would suggest putting something on top of it so it doesn't dig into you. So I'll show you this, and then if you haven't got anything, I'll show you an alternative as well. So first of all, lie down, knees bent, feet on the floor, lift the hips up. Now you can start with the lowest level. And what we're going to do is straighten the legs out. Legs can be together or separate. And then you can put the arms either above or to the sides. And what we're doing here is we're opening up the front of the torso. So if this is fine for you, then stay here. If you're not really feeling that much and you want to feel a bit more, you can take it up onto the next level. Again. You're putting it right on the bottom of the spine, by the way, just above the bum, at the lowest part, the bony part at the bottom. And then again, the arms, just place them where is best for you to open up the chest. And you can even go up on, depending on your, on your back, basically. You can, if you want to, go up onto the highest level, if you wanted to, but remember, we're trying to avoid muscular effort and we're going to be in this for around 3 minutes. So that's what you can do if you've got a prop. If you haven't got a prop, then what we're going to do is we'll go into Anahatasana. So onto hands and knees. And then keeping the hips in the air, we walk the hands forward, so that we're stretching, we're opening the chest. In fact, you might want to open the arms a bit more to open the chest even more. You can also do that if you're feeling a stabbing sensation in the shoulders. Now you can drop the forehead down, perhaps the chin onto the floor, or perhaps the chin on something. And widen the arms as much as you need to. What we're going for in both of these poses, in pontoon and in Anahatasana, which we're doing now, is an opening of the chest, an opening of the torso. Now, if even widening the arms is still giving you a stabbing sensation in the shoulder, then another option is to put the hands in prayer behind. So that's another option for you. I can see Nadia. Hi, Nadia. Close your eyes again. Around 2 minutes now. If you're in pontoon, I'll give you a bit longer if you're in the other pose. So the spleen meridian that I was talking about before goes through the inside legs, but it also goes through the front of the chest, the torso. So we're opening up that area, stimulating those meridians, that meridian again, and the energy that flows through that. We're also stimulating its pair, all meridians in traditional Chinese medicine, they come in pairs, and the pair of the spleen is the stomach meridian. And in yogic tradition, it can be said, you might have heard that getting ill ultimately can result from an energy imbalance in the digestive system. It can, according to yogic tradition. So by stimulating the energy within these areas, we could say that we're encouraging our bodies to be healthy and immune, building up the immune system and the digestive system to work more efficiently, building up our immunity to invaders, space invaders. If you're finding this is too much, because both of these poses are also a back bend, so if you're finding it's too much in the lower back and that is hurting you, try separating the legs. That can be really helpful. Or if that's still not working, you can bend the knees as well, or maybe bend one. So another half a minute or so. If you're in pontoon. So, if you're in pontoon, then bend the knees. If you're in Anahatasana, then just stay there for a bit longer. Now, if you are on a block, then what you might want to do here is just bring the legs up, not too high, be careful of the lower back. Just bring the legs up, they don't need to be straight necessarily. But what we're just doing briefly here is we're just going to work on the lymph system. Lymph also contains white blood cells. And what we're doing is we are bringing the lymph from the feet, obviously down to the head, the opposite direction. Perhaps you might want to hold onto the block like me. Now if you're not using a block and this isn't really working, then just gently raise your hips. Take the block away, gently bring your hips down, and then just go into a lying position, which is actually what we're all going to do now. So bend the knees, feet on the floor, raise the hips, move the block away. Gently, gently, gently bring the hips down. Straighten out the legs. Your back could well feel fragile. It's normal when we're stimulating connective tissue. Close your eyes for the rebound. And if you're in Anahatasana, then just walk the hands up and just go into kneeling position. And again, close your eyes as well. See how you feel in body, in mind. Just notice. And then for those of you who are kneeling,
In your own time, make your way onto your back. So everyone's on their backs. Bend your knees, put the feet on the floor. This might be a bit difficult for me because I've got something here, but I'll show you one way at least. So bring the feet, we're going to do a twist. So bring the feet fairly wide. And then just drop the knees to the left. So what we're looking for here already is a bit of a stretch around the hips, perhaps into the leg. If you're not really feeling much, then you can put the left foot on the right knee. Now be very careful of the right knee here. You may feel like there's a bit too much pressure and it's pulling. So you can put something underneath it to support it. And then keeping the hips where they are, just bring the top half of the torso over. So you've got this is basically a bit like Banana Asana, but with bent knees. So just bring the body over so that we're feeling a stretch on the side of the torso as well. Raise the arms up. Take hold of the wrist, the right wrist or the left wrist, or the elbows. And just move the hips around if you need to, particularly if you're feeling anything uncomfortable in the back. Move the shoulders. Just play with it. Play with the legs. Play with the torso. As long as we're feeling a stretch along the right side, and that we're not feeling any pain anywhere, then that's what we want. So we'll be here for around 2.5 minutes, around 3 actually. With Yin Yoga poses, it's best to have 3 to 5 minutes. So what we've got here is a stretch on the right side, but we've also got a bit of a twist in here as well. And twists are really said to be really great for detoxification of the body. So again, something very useful when we're trying to build up immunity. And that twist is that, as you can see, the hips are going one way and the torso is looking the other direction. Notice if you're tensing anything. And pay attention to your breath. If you notice that your breath isn't natural, then you're probably pushing too hard. So then I suggest backing off, maybe bringing the torso up a bit, or perhaps taking the foot off the knee. Always be careful not to overdo it. In everything, be careful not to overdo. But do bring some kind of a challenge. We don't want this to be super easy. We want to be stimulating the body in the target areas. We don't want it to be comfortable as such. We want to feel the body working, but we don't want to be hurting. So challenging ourselves really, but paying attention to anything that's not right, anything that's painful. Alright, so let's come up to the center. So just bring the arms down, straighten the torso, bring the legs up,
Just before we move to the other side, then just move into the centre. Keep the knees bent, maybe letting them knock together, perhaps. Just allow them to relax. How does the right side feel to the left side? Does it feel longer, perhaps? And you stay where you are, but I'm going to move to the other side so that I'm not crashing into the radiator. And let's go to the other side. So, separate the feet again. To the point that you want. And then drop the knees to the right side this time. Seeing how that stretch feels in the left side. Is that enough? Is that okay for a few minutes? If it is, just stay here. If you want more, bring the right foot on top. If you're feeling anything in that lower knee, stick something underneath it. And then move the top of the right torso over to start to feel a stretch in the left side. Play with the body, play with the hips so that nothing is painful. Bring the arms up, hold on to the wrists, the elbows. The arms can be wherever you want. They can be over the head, they can be on the forehead. And if you're feeling any stabbing sensations in the shoulders, in the front of the shoulder, for example, another option actually is just to bring the arm across and just kind of pull on it a bit to give a bit of stretch in the arm as well. And then we'll stay here for 3 minutes again. Once again, noticing your breathing, checking that it's normal. Looking over to the left side to keep that twist. And again, if it feels at any point like it's getting too much, then just make less of that banana shape. Bring the body up a bit. Or if you feel like you're ready for a bit more, then you can just move a little bit further, bend a little bit further. My knee is starting to hurt a bit now, so I'm going to put something underneath it. Notice if you're tensing the body. Notice if your attention is wandering to something. Just bring it back to the physical sensations. I believe Yin Yoga can be a really good preparation if you're interested in mindfulness meditation. Because ultimately it's in the same way that you focus on the breath and that you use the breath as an anchor quite often in meditation. And if your attention wanders, then you bring it back to the breath, the feeling of the breath. So in Yin Yoga, it's a similar idea. When your attention wanders, bring it back to the feelings in the body, the sensations in the body. Using that as your anchor to the present, noticing your experience. Practice for just bringing your attention back, ultimately can also be really helpful in encouraging in focus, in concentration. And knowing that we stay in these poses for a number of minutes. So just try to enjoy it. And be patient. So let's start moving back to the center. Bring the arms down, bring the torso back to the center. Take the foot off the left knee if it's there. Bring the knees up. Again, you could feel fragile. You may well feel fragile. That's very normal. And just straighten the legs out. Get comfortable. Move the body however much you need to. We're going to move into Shavasana. Maybe lifting the body, lifting the hips, moving a bit. Just so that you're comfortable and you can stay here for as long as you want to. Closing the eyes. Noticing the effects of the practice. Maybe taking a couple of deep breaths if you want to help you just sink into the ground a bit more. Really deep stretches in the body. Helping the body to de-stress, helping the body to relax, and then ultimately a knock-on effect, hopefully, to the mind, to your nerves, your immune system. Please, as always, stay here for as long as you need to. Give yourself time to yourself before moving on to whatever you're going to be doing next. I hope this practice has helped set you up for the weekend. And let's hope that it stimulates our immune systems. That's the idea. To be healthier, to work more efficiently. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time. Namaste.